Well, I've pushed the button.
Did you push the button?
I pushed the button.
All I see is starting.
Oh,
Oh, there we go. Okay.
Wait, Katra, when did you get here? What?
I'm taking over.
Apparently, Katra is taking over. Just as an FYI, we are now dealing with
And it's season 1 Katra too. So
it's season 1 Katra. Oh no, she's even cattier.
Yeah. All right. So let's do this thing.
Hello, and welcome to GeekQuery, where we talk about everything and anything. Are we doing D&D? Geeky?
Yeah,
usually it's things geeky.
I mean, I think all of our videos so far have been D&D. We keep talking about doing other things, but we haven't done
just talk about D&D.
Yeah, that's okay. You know, D&D is cool.
Yeah, we have a lot of people who follow us for D&D, so we might as well stick with what we know and what people are here for. So
So let's do some introductions. I am the Niche. I hope that we will have some new people here tonight because we've been spreading the word a bit and having a few folks spread the word for us. I gained what fame I have through my webcomics, The Swervin' Jungle, and its spin-offs. And I have been a gamer for more years than I can't count that high. I started with the D&D basic boxed set in 1979 is when I got it. 1981 is the first time I did anything of note with it, and I've been gaming in some variety ever since. I've written in the gaming industry. I wrote for Mage the Ascension and a Street Fighter storytelling game, which is near and dear to my heart, even though it was a very short-lived project. And I've written for the Indiana Jones Adventures. So I've been around, and and I love gaming, I love storytelling, etc. So that's me.
Okay.
Let's see.
I am Inkblitz. I have nowhere near as many claims to fame as the Niche does, but I am a longtime role player of the written variety. I started with written roleplay back when I was a wee old lad of 14. Earlier than that, maybe. And I've written in long form, short form, story form, novel form, maybe. For how old am I? For a very long time.
Younger than me,
more than
older
15 years.
Yeah.
More than 15 years. Let me put it that way. Now, recently, I've been mostly a fuzzy animal on the internet. I do. When I am not doing D&D, I am doing charity costuming and streaming on Twitch and being a massive goofball. But I am also
on Twitch tonight.
No, we are not streaming on Twitch tonight, and there's a very good reason for that. But I am also a longtime player. Started playing with 5th edition, not 5th edition, 3.5 edition. There's a 5 in there somewhere. Started DMing in 5th edition. And we'll probably be continuing to DM and play well into 6th, 7th, 10th edition whenever those become a reality. But that is me. Now, today we have a guest. We have a guest DM who is one of the 4 DMs that we have, 4 DMs that we have in our gaming group, which is a unicorn.
Yeah, we are very blessed to have several DMs in our group.
We are extremely blessed. But Plotline, take it away. Who are you?
Hello, my name is Plotline. I'm a player of many ponies on the internet. I don't have claims to fame. My alts do. On the Twitter ponies, I start with my OC Plotline. I'm also a player of Twilight Sparkle, Fleetfoot, Diamond Tiara, Gilda, Grandpa Gruff, just to name a few. I've been a forum role player for just about 20 years now. I started back on a Sailor Moon board and bounced around several other boards since then. Usually all weird fanficky type stuff, but it was a whole lot of fun. Developed my craft on those boards. Nowadays, I'm a player of games, mostly video, but about 5-6 years ago, I got into D&D thanks to these two guys right here.
We're down here. There's
Yeah.
no one
Yeah,
up
we're
you.
down
There's
here.
no one above
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. You're
These
the
two
guest,
guys.
so you're elevated.
Yeah.
to-
Okay.
or-
Thank you.
Hold him up there.
And now that and as of October of last year, I officially took the mantle of Dungeon Master and start with tonight's topic of discussion, the Dragon of Icespire Peak.
Yeah, and so a little bit of background / disclaimer that Blitzy and I are both players in Plotline's game, and I, as far as I know, am the first DM that Plotline played for. He was part of a group that another mutual friend wanted to learn how to play D&D, and so I started the game for him, and I invited Plotline and Blitzy and a few other friends, and the original person said a couple of sessions in, "Wow, this has been fun, bye," and the rest of us were like, but
But wait.
playing. And so we did.
We
and
like
we've
this.
been we've been a group ever since. So Plotline, the reason I asked Plotline to come on and talk to us about Icespire Peak is because the Essentials Kit is specifically designed as an introduction for people who have never DM'd or or haven't DM'd edition.
For new DMs,
There's-
new players, it's easy to jump in. It's easy to get in and go with.
Yep. Yeah, and there's two sort of gateway adventures. There's the basic set, which contains the Lost Mine of Phandelver, and then there's the Essential Kit, which contains the Dragon of Icespire Peak. And I have already run Lost Mine of Phandelver for about half of this group, so we didn't want to just do that again.
I will never be able to play it. I will never play it.
I have thoughts about that, Blitzy, but we'll come back to that.
Me too.
Yeah. But I figured since Icespire Peak is specifically designed for beginner DMs, and Plotline has run it in that capacity, we wanted to hear, how that went. So we were going to interview him on that topic. So we're going to get started with that. Also, hello everybody in chat. I see you, Ace and Surfy and Sirion and
Aloha, chat. How are you today?
Yeah. If you have any questions or things you want to pop in with or whatever, just, put it in the chat and we'll keep an eye on it as we go.
I am staring at the chat as we speak.
Yep. Yes, Blitz is staring at you very, very intently. So let's get this thing off the ground. So we'll start with Plotline.
Okay.
What made you decide to become a dungeon master?
Honestly, watching you and Blitzy and Jamie do it, I was like, this ain't bad, and I already had some inkling of how DMing went, and I was like, maybe I should start looking into this. And then you guys actually asked me about possibly DMing. I was like, ooh, do they really want me to try this? Not that dramatically, but I was like, yeah, all right, let's take a look at this. So I picked up the Essentials Kit in reverse, but yes, the Essentials Kit. Had a whole bunch of nice stuff in it. Thin campaign module book, cards, dice, everything. Newly minted D&D player or DM needs to start having a ball.
Mhm.
And
We went through this on Roll20.
Yes.
yeah.
We did not do any of this in person. So I believe the Dragon of Icespire Keep is in, you have a module in Roll20 that you can set up.
Yep.
You?
Wizards of the Coast. They have the not only the base Dragon of Icespire Peak module, but they also have the 3 follow-up campaigns after that.
Nice.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So when you decided to become a DM and when you were looking at things to do, what were you most excited about? What interested you most about doing it?
A little bit of, maybe it sounds a little power trippy, but being able to narrate a whole world of adventure of my own dictation, and bringing you guys in for the fun of it. And it was like, okay, let's see. Okay, we gotta have some fun with this. You know, I read the module. I was like, oh yeah, this is fun. Oh hey, take a look at this. Oh yeah, I gotta subject them to this. Maybe if we did a little bit like this, and it just really got my creative juices flowing. I'd been kind of in a stagnant state for a long time with my creativity. My poor novels that I've been writing, they've kind of gathered shells of dust by now.
I know the feeling.
Yeah. So this kind of felt like a marriage of all my loves: gaming, storytelling, getting together with friends, all that good stuff, So I was like, oh yeah. And DMing just felt like the logical next step, and I was like, heck yeah, let's do this.
What is being a DM but having all the power anyways? You kind of have to
like,
be a little
well,
bit power trippy to actually decide to be a DM.
you have all the power, but also you're completely everybody's servant. So it's like being a genie. You have the shackles on your wrists you have phenomenal cosmic power, but
Thankfully not the
very
itty bitty
limited
living
what you can
space,
do with
but
it. Yeah.
Right.
your
Yeah.
mouths may
And,
vary.
Yeah, we should also mention for the purposes of this discussion that we may get very spoilery about
Yes.
Dragon of Icespire Peak. So if you're looking to play in it,
As
you
a
might
warning,
not want to watch this. But if you know
spoilers.
somebody, if you know somebody who's thinking of becoming a dungeon master or thinking of running Dragon of Icespire Peak and would like the experiences of people who've gone through it, please send them to this. Bring them to the stream or send them to the replay. But if you're planning to play, get out. So,
Well, I do believe that plotline did change some things going through it, but that's a question for later on. But yeah, so as you were getting into DMing and as you were starting to wind up with this campaign, what were some things you were most concerned about? Like as a first time DM, did you have any concerns like either with the campaign you were working with or with your players? Like what kind of concerns do you have going into it as a first time DM?
I really just wanted you guys to have fun, I wanted the six of you to really enjoy it. I didn't want to be a drony bore about it. I wanted to really kind of liven it up, be a little showy, be a little flamboyant in my DMing style, and kind of keep you guys hooked as best as I could. I actually began practicing my voice work, and you can tell I don't have a great bass voice, but I had a whole lot of fun doing all the different characters' voice. We'll go into some of those characters later, maybe, possibly, who knows. But being able to play these characters for you guys and seeing how you react, that really was an appeal for me, and but it led to my next concern. Going through the module, some of the challenges are a little stiff, and some of the quests can be a bit of a grind. And the last thing I wanted to do was TPK you guys. I think, and we could talk more about this later, possibly. So the first three quests, the starter quests, they're really tough on a level one players. Didn't know we guys were gonna go. It's like, okay, is this gonna come? Is this gonna come? What? No, these guys are pro. These guys have done this before. They've been around the block for a while. They could do this. Oh, but then there's the dice I have to worry about.
And those were the manticores. That was the first couple of quests, I believe.
Yeah, that was the very first.
Were the first real dangerous one, and that encounter, if you just look at it mathematically as a combat encounter, the manticores are just going to chew up and spit out first level players.
Yeah, that
but
was
they didn't.
Yes, that was the very first quest, and I think the very first turn the manticore got he crit shotted Himbo right between the eyes and knocked him out. I was like, oh my gosh, Surfy, I'm so sorry. Yeah, that was fun. It was amazing. It turned out okay. Got some suggestions about that from other sites and YouTubers, and we went from there. But that was kind of a bit of a worry for me.
That kind of led into our next question there. You already answered a couple of them. It's like, so I mean, in terms of your concerns as going into it, like how'd they turn out? Like you said, you were afraid that you were gonna TPK us regularly, and spoilers, did not happen.
Did not happen.
It didn't happen to us.
Did
Now,
not
that's another
happen
wrinkle.
to us, but there's another story where you were DMing for another group of the same things, and
Mhm.
some of your concerns became real there.
Yeah. That I will say though that was very much dice dependent because they had a solid party, and for a little bit they were doing well, and then suddenly none of my players' dice wanted to hit the orcs they were fighting at the time, and the orcs with massive great axes dealing 1d12 damage plus modifiers per hit. Yeah,
Yeah.
even our paladin wasn't standing up to that for too long.
Yeah, dice
And
betrayal is totally a thing.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was
That
absolute
sounds like
dice betrayal.
what I got from you and talking to some of your other players was definitely a bear gets you moment.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
very much so.
Yep. Sometimes the bear gets you, and in this version, sometimes the dice just don't like you. You can you can deal with your dice as much as you want. You can praise them, you can honor them, you can put them on a pedestal, and that
Or put them in dice jail.
favorite D20 will betray you every time.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, thinking of the manticores though, just from the player's point of view, you know, I mentioned I've been gaming for a long time, and so on a meta level, I knew that unless those manticores were like custom built, which they could have been, but if they were just out of the book manticores, I knew they were way above our pay grade. You know, and so you kind of can't help meta gaming if you've been around the block a few times. And so I was like, okay, so this encounter either was bonkers in the first place, or it's got some trick to it that we have to figure out, or we're actually intended to parlay with the manticores. And I think it was Blitzy actually who started the parlay. But that immediately, I think it was you. It was either you or Himbo. I don't. Well, Himbo was out.
Himbo was out, so it must have been me. But
yeah.
Also, it was me that did the massive crit in the beginning that almost knocked one of them out. So
yeah. But you know, that was a thing where my sort of years of gaming experience led me to think, okay, you know, just charging the manticores is probably not a good idea. But I wonder, like, how many groups where the players were also new were just like, oh, there's the monster, we're supposed to fight it. You know.
Oh, you were back. Oh, so Himbo was back up by then. Okay.
Yeah.
My memory is a little hazy.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been a while, and we've had so many crazy encounters since then that sort of forgotten.
Yeah.
So
to peel the curtain back a bit on Umbridge Hill, it's a rescue quest for the town midwife, and in the module itself, it's one manticore straight up, straight from the master manual. It didn't say you had to fight to the death. You could easily lure it away. But I took an idea. I can't remember if it was from Bob Worldbuilder or Sly Flourish, about the manticore having a mate who was injured by Cryovane, and that manticore came hunting for healing potions to try and heal her, or him. I didn't specify, but and as the battle went on, I was going to have the mates start slowly creeping their way to your guys' location, and eventually you did meet them, and Himbo did the soon to be famous lay on hugs.
That was the first instance of Himbo doing land hugs, and thus began our party's
We befriended
We
everybody
befriended
and
everybody.
adopted everybody.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, you did.
Yes,
But
we turned Phandalin into a giant theme park of different species and creatures.
on the upside, the Phandalin map looked very interesting.
Wow, we made it more interesting.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, but this leads to our next question, actually. So, as you took on the role of being a DM,
Mhm.
what surprised you about it
Um.
versus what you were concerned about?
So I knew it was going to be a lot of work. There's going to be a lot of prep. Um. I I really had no idea what you guys would have in mind. So just really taking into consideration where you guys could end up going and where you would end up going. You know that got me thinking. Um. There's something in the module called the Phandalin Tales table, where if one of the proprietors of the different establishments in Phandalin, if they took a liking to you, they'd tell you a random story on that table.
Hmm.
Each of the two of the possible tales could lead you either to the Tower of Storms, which is at least a second tier quest, or you could end up in the Shrine of Severus, which scales upward based on your guys' level. And I was like,
Ah.
oh no, this
Mhm.
could be, oh no. And like, and when I first rolled the Phandalin table, guess which one you guys ended up drawing? The
That was the
Tower of
Tower of
Storms.
Tower of
Storms.
Storms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, the Tower of Storms. I was like, okay. And I wanted to be honest with you guys, and I didn't want to fudge the dice too much. So I told you the story. If you ended up out there, then have fun.
Well, we did
Um,
end up out there.
Yeah. Yeah.
you did eventually get out there, and that was actually, I think, one of the more fun missions out there because that one had the shipwrecks with the treasure in it.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That one, I think that was the last one Aiko was on, and uh, I remember that being a very fun adventure, and I remember the my favorite part being the sort of reveal at the end that the crab, spoilers, the intelligent crab was not like an apprentice who had been polymorphed, but an actual crab that had been uplifted. And I was like, that is a neat,
That's different.
that was a fun twist. That's something I was not expecting. And
That was a different
uh,
twist.
yeah. And we ended up not adopting that particular crab, but we easily could have. But the
We
crab
almost
lived
did.
on the coast,
No,
so
we sent
Yeah.
that one off. We sent that
Yeah.
one off
well,
to
yeah,
do
the
something.
crab still lives at the tower, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
for some reason we didn't adopt that one. Maybe it was just because it was a crab.
Yeah, well, the crab lives on the coast.
Crab,
they
yeah, I
need the
mean-
water. Phandalin is a landlocked town. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we
Yeah.
could have made a fountain for it or something.
Yeah, bring a giant bathtub.
There you
or
go.
something. Yeah.
Right.
But as a DM, like what you mentioned that being fun. What are some of your favorite moments or your favorite things that you've experienced as a DM?
As a DM, just watching you guys as players, flex your creative muscles and throw brand new things at me. I know that can be a frustration for some DMs, but I was like, oh wow, I did not think of that, and it really got me sort of thinking sixth, seventh, eighth dimensionally on some of these quests. Not so much for okay, how do I stop them from doing this? No, I don't want them to do this. Dang it, Himbo, why did I let you have Grappler at level 1?
Because you let us do that.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
let us do some custom stuff, and so
Yeah, for the since I as a as an mid semi power gamer, I decided to let my players swap out a racial feat for a feat, an actual feat that you get with your ability score improvements, and oh my gosh, that was a terrible idea for balance.
This is where the plotline learns that not all feats are created equal, and definitely not are not on par with racial abilities, which is what makes the variant humans so dang powerful.
yeah,
Mm.
yeah. Well, I mean, the Himbo, which is Sir Fox's character, he's this sort of not an armadillo, pangolin. He's an anthropomorphic pangolin,
Yeah.
and his racial abilities were largely based on the Loxodon write-up,
Yeah.
except I forget which ability. The Loxodons have some kind of ability to do like prehensile stuff with their trunk.
Yep.
And I think I was the one who recommended just instead of that ability, give him the ability to grapple as a bonus action when he takes the attack action, which I based on 2-weapon fighting, which already lets you use your offhand to attack with.
Yep.
And just the special thing is not that he can attack, but that he can grapple.
Right.
Otherwise, it's just 2-weapon fighting reskinned a little bit.
Yeah.
But you know, Surfy is a power player, and so he was constantly grabbing monsters with his tail and slamming them into other monsters to damage both and all kinds of stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it was a thing where
mostly based on Tortle.
Was it Tortle? I thought it was based on the Loxodon, but I don't remember.
It might have been.
Tortle makes sense because
it
the
was
whole
a Tortle
shells.
because of the armor.
The armor stuff.
That's right. That's right.
That makes sense.
Yeah, Surfy just said it.
Yep.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, I mean, I liked that you gave us that option, even though I didn't take it. I made Aiko a half Eladrin, which was basically I smooshed the Eladrin together with the half elf and made it basically instead of getting the like bonus skills of a half elf, she got the Eladrin Misty Step once per day ability.
Yeah.
Which was building into her whole concept as being like Tracer from Overwatch. She was supposed to be teleporting all around and stuff like that.
Yep.
And speaking as a DM myself, who has let people have all kinds of crazy custom builds and stuff, it takes guts to do that, and it takes extra work to sort of build your encounters with that stuff in mind. So I was very I guess not proud is the right word, but I was happy to see that you had embraced that kind of flexibility.
Yeah, which is definitely good. And you don't see that with a lot of DMs. Like a lot of DMs are not going to be that flexible. They're not going to give you like the ability to try anything that you really want to, and which is great. I'm curious, and this is going slightly off our questions. What was it that encouraged you to allow us to use more of those unique traits? Like what encouraged you to customize as much as you let us, which is great. I'm not harping on it. It's just what
led you to that decision?
Yeah, what was your thought processes on that?
I think there was a bit of an internal desire to want to do something a little bit different compared to the other campaigns that we'd all run together so far, and just maybe have a little bit of a twist there to kind of get you guys to build something more of a dream build early. And I knew that the campaign only goes well in the module. It says it'll take you to level 7. You guys did not get to level 7 because we didn't use milestone leveling. Yeah. But knowing that you weren't going to be ending with like 2, 3, 4 chances at ability score improvements to get all these feats to build your ultimate ideal builds, I wanted to sort of give you guys a bit of a head start on that and sort of get you towards where you may have ideally thought your character could be kind of quicker. Okay. And so you guys could hopefully have some fun with your characters in however much time we would have on this campain.
And that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Sorry, I interrupted you. Go ahead.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I was just about finished there. Of course, now that we're finished, I'm looking at the follow-up campaigns, which means we may get to those points anyway. But still, if it didn't pan out that we'd be doing those follow-up campaigns or continuing on with these characters in another campaign, I'd like you guys to reach that ideal for your characters.
Yeah, and like I said, that makes sense. Like, because a lot of people think about, when they think about the characters that they're trying to create in D&D, they're thinking about, okay, well, this character comes online at this level, this character comes online at this level, this character's going to be amazing at level 20. They will never reach most of those levels. Like, I mean, Nietzsche said that he's rarely, you have not played like high tier D&D.
Nope.
No,
Mhm.
and
The
I
highest any of my campaigns have ever gone up level 13, and I would like to fix that, but
yeah. So, and that's the thing. Most campaigns will do the same. They will not go like above a certain level. You'll start over. You'll start at level 1. You're new characters for whatever reason, and so being able to create a character that is more, comes online earlier, and and has more of those unique abilities earlier is great. And I think, for as overpowered as it became, it's a really good, I think that's a very good way of doing things as a DM, and understanding that, yeah, your players have these things in mind. They really want to see these characters become powerful and cool, but you gotta go up the ladder first.
Yeah.
there's a concept. It was popular in 3rd edition era, but I've seen it used a few other places, called Gestalt characters. And what they are is you're allowed to simultaneously level 2 classes at once, and you just take the best hit die from either class as your hit die, and you get like the skill bonuses of each class and the saving throw and the special abilities of each class. And it's used particularly in like small groups, if people have like 2 or 3 players instead of the 7 that we've got. But what that allows you to do is you have more well-rounded characters who are not necessarily more powerful exactly. I mean, the numbers are in the same neighborhood. A 3rd level Gestalt character still only has 3 hit dice and still only has a +2 proficiency bonus and stuff like that, but they can do more stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
They are more. There's more to them.
Yeah. And sort of what you're describing here, plotline with the characters coming on early, that kind of makes me think of that. It's like, Shady probably just going, since I always talk about Shady would actually probably work better as a Gestalt character than she does as a single class character. But
I don't think you can handle 2 of Shady.
no, it's not 2 of Shady. It's, Shady is a bard and a rogue at the same time, or a bard or a rogue and a fighter at the same time. But and Swiftstorm, a Gestalt Swiftstorm would probably be, the fighter sorcerer at the same time, or something. Just like I say, it's most commonly used in smaller groups, because they need somebody who can be the healer and be the fighter or whatever.
Right.
So
Yeah.
but we're wandering off from the plotline interview, so let's rein that back in a little bit. So as you actually started DMing, what did you actually have the most difficulty with? Like, what were your biggest challenges?
Honestly, something I got into the habit of doing early was sort of running demo battles by myself, just sort of taking what I'd set up and running proxies of your guys' characters against what threats you guys could foreseeably face in those different quests. And sometimes it'd be total stumps on your guys' part. Other times the dice just don't play nice, and you guys ended up on the losing end. But for me personally, it was tough trying to find ways to uniquely describe some of these things. I've joked about me needing to get myself a thesaurus at some point. And
There's actually a service for that. One of the YouTubers I've watched has been advertising it lately. They have you subscribe and they have blurbs for everything, like a blurb for describing a fireball, a blurb for
describe.
Yeah.
I think just describe.
Describe with a Y or something.
Yeah,
like that.
it's weird.
Yeah,
it's something weird like that. I know what you're talking about, though.
That. Yeah, I heard about that. I don't have that though. But I just wanted to people say, "Yep, you're in a kitchen. You are in the gnome kitchen." Yep,
Very
it is
It,
definitely a
it
gnome
is
kitchen.
definitely a kitchen.
Yeah.
Definitely a
and
kitchen.
I started noticing some of your go-tos, and I have my go-tos, and
Oh yeah.
Litzy has his go-tos. It's just a thing that develops.
Yeah. My go-to
you
is
know.
just to let you all wander and
Yeah.
Well, I'm talking about like expressions,
Oh, yes.
Plotline. I noticed when a monster took a lot of damage, they almost always went. That was the default expression of a monster that it took a lot of damage. And I started picturing it like this word balloon in a comic, the standard TCHAAA dash dash exclamation point. And I some of my own go-tos. It's hard for me to see them because I'm the one doing them. But I have characters say, "If you know what I mean," or things like that a lot. It's just everybody has their go-tos.
Yes, I
Yeah.
like every DM does that, and I know
Yep.
like even watching like Matt Mercer, he has his own things as well, and he calls everything a creature.
A creature.
He doesn't, even when you're talking to like a an elf or something that is definable, he calls it a creature. And there's something else that I keep noting it every time he does it, but now I can't remember what it is. But now that you've DM'd Plotline, now you've had the experience of being a DM and actually getting out there and creating worlds and seeing it interact with players. How is that going to change how you approach being a player?
I want to say it'll make me sort of think a little bit more in what the DM might be intending, and as a role player, I want to kind of go along with it.
Mhm.
I want it sort of helps to take me out of just being the player's shoes and being more of a supporting cast member, so to speak. Because this is a big old story we're all telling together, and I want to be a part of it. I want to see that grand vision come together. I mean, I won't say I won't ever do something off the wall or unexpected.
I would
but,
be disappointed if you didn't.
Yeah, I mean, Adlier jumping out of the airship was an epic moment.
I accept your surrender.
Yeah.
Just Adler saying, "I accept your surrender" as he's stabbing them. That is
Well,
crazy on its own.
That's just plotline. That's
Well, the Amastasia is a bit of a crazy family anyway. You guys have met Shiala.
Yep.
Yeah.
Pretty sure he almost got blown up by Shiala.
Yeah.
But now, how about let's talk about Icespire Peak a little bit.
Specifically about Icespire Peak. We've been sort of dancing around being a DM.
Yeah.
But now, there's Icespire Peak itself, which is, as we know, is one of the essentials and one of the beginner campaigns. But is it beyond that, like beyond being one of the essentials and being beyond one of the beginning campaigns? Is there a particular reason why you chose it?
Honestly, a big reason was because it was recommended to me by you guys. Ultimately, there wasn't a whole lot of beginners options out there. It was either Icespire Peak or Lost Mine Found Over from the starter set. I was like, but you know what? This ain't bad. I went out, I picked it up, I started flipping through it. I'll admit there's a little bit of hesitancy because for me as a player, I wanted to be surprised.
Right.
And when I pick up this module and I commit to reading it as a DM, I'm kind of spoiling myself if I decide, this one's not for me. And then,
that's always a concern.
Chosen to read a module, you can't ever play it.
You can
you can't have a first time. With
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Or I could just lie about it and just enjoy the ride.
Oh, I mean that's always fair too, because the DM's going to change things.
You could do that, but you still wouldn't get the first time.
Right.
Your surprise would come from, oh wait, that's different from the book.
Oh. Well, that's different.
Yeah.
But reading through the Dragon of Icespire Peak, I like the simple format of the job board and going out for the quest, coming back, messing around town a little bit, and there was a lot I felt I could fill in. That's why I found the different random encounter tables. And oh my, you guys had a lot of fun with those random encounters, didn't you?
Well, you
We
had
did.
fun with random encounters. We just
Yeah, you definitely, some of that stuff was very random, and there are things, if we ever do the group post-mortem, that I'm gonna be like, what the heck was that about, and what the heck was that about, and what was
what are these
this,
loose threads that have never been? We don't.
Yeah.
What was going on?
Yeah.
What was
But
going on in your head?
I'm curious though, how much of it was custom stuff, and how much was direct from the book, or
So I think about 75% of it was direct from the book. For a lot of the quests, I did try to sort of flavor it up and twist it up a little bit to try and give it a little bit more. Umbridge Hill was definitely one that, took some that got some reflavoring with the Manticore mate. Then there was the which one was it? It was the Tower of Storms, which I had to reflavor the boss encounter there because the way they had the boss set up, he was sitting in a sort of ramshackle throne room waiting for you guys to show up. Here's the thing: 6 competent characters walking into a small room surrounding him. It's not going to be much of a boss encounter.
It would be a blood splatter. This is why
good old surrounded pound.
This is why when we talk about things being too difficult or things being too easy, it's like you never give your players just one enemy to deal with.
Yep.
Because
players should be outnumbered whenever possible.
Yes, they will squash it. They will turn it into a fine paste. If you want them to give them a challenge, you fill the room. You give that one person, that one ruler, guards in the room itself. So your well-armed party of 6 comes in there, and then suddenly, while they are focused on this person, you've got guards. They're like, no.
That kind of leads into, so it goes hand in hand with the final encounter, which we can maybe get to later. But there's some. Well, I'll mention it.
Get to it now.
Get to it. Yeah, talk about
it. In the final encounter at Icespire Hold, there was a group called the Stone Cold Reavers. In the book, they were just a throwaway group of bandits who appeared, but they had names, they had characteristics, they had backstories. Like, we're never going to get this out if they only show up in this one spot and then get stomped by the party. There's 6 of these guys. And Dobin Norris, he was only supposed to show up in town to sort of point the way towards Icespire Hold. If you guys prayed at the Shrine of Luck there. So when we finally got so when I finally got to flavoring the Stone Cold Reavers, I was like, no, these guys should be here earlier. They should be sort of like a illusion, maybe a rival party and stuff. So I found this really nice artwork to use for Silene Wintermoon, who was the leader. And I was like, oh, do I want to use this on someone who's probably going to get stomped? Do I want to save this for my characters I might make one day?
You can do both.
Like, you know what? They can have this one. And I began sort of putting it into places to try and maybe make her a long-term rival for you guys. Possibly with Runa Rockdaughter, who was another member of the Reavers. I built that encounter to make those 2 a little bit tougher than the other 2. Because in the book they're just veterans. They're just named veterans.
Yeah.
And not too interesting. So I gave each one something a little different, and I wanted to really liven it up. The problem was that it was still 4 on 6, even with Silene's Echo. I gave her Echo Knight characteristics for that one.
Well, I mean, that was a warm up for the dragon too. So
yeah,
if I think it was about the right level of power for that.
Yeah, if I could do it all over again, I probably would have had you guys fight the dragon and the Reavers at the same time somehow. after the fact, maybe not necessarily scale them up like I did in your guys' campaign, but maybe so. But there's a good idea that I saw online that the Reavers could have been dragon cultists who were like worshiping Cryovane, and suddenly the big bad has some minions.
Yeah, secret cultists.
Yeah.
Maybe. I mean,
Well,
I liked how it panned out myself.
Yeah. Me too.
You know, I mean, Cryovane. Yes, we defeated him, but you know, if Dice had been a little more angry at us, you know, Cryovane was capable of one punching half the party at a time.
he did.
Yeah.
So, yeah, and you know, and so we
Like-
went in with 2 NPCs on top of 6 PCs.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it was. I was never worried that we were going to have a TPK, but
Yeah.
it was tough. We had to be on our toes. You know, it was an engaging battle. So I think fighting them all at once might have actually
that would have been TPK.
yeah, especially if the other thing would be it might have been disappointing. You know, like after all the build up to the Stone Cold Reavers that we went through, it was like satisfying to have these rivals and finally here's the big showdown, you know. And then knowing, oh shit, we've still got to deal with the dragon. You know, it added some tension to that. So actually, I think the way it panned out, was very good for that.
Yeah, and dragons are either a dragon is going to really mess with a party, or they'll not. It depends on how the dice is, because in this case, the dice just did not like Himbo or Nadira or one of our NPCs.
And if Cryovane had stayed in the air,
yes,
it would have been a very long slog, because all that would have happened would be that Velvet would be shooting at him from the murder holes, and the rest of us would be as he went by, you know.
We'd all be we'd all be using reactions as he swoops down to you know, attack us. But it still would have been a slog, and it still would have. I don't know. I mean, I think it's something to think about in, you know, when the next group gets that far. But I mean, my opinion would be no.
Yeah. Yeah.
But so how well did Icespire Peak serve you as a new DM?
I liked it. You know, it gives you the basic moves that you need to narrate a good D&D campaign. Plenty of arm room to really flex your own creative muscles if you want to add or subtract. I did a whole lot of adding personally. I recommend it, really. It was just a whole lot of fun to finally flex those DM muscles without having a huge overwhelming tome to have to scan through the entirety of. The layout of it was simple enough. Every character was well defined in the book, I thought. Anyone who wasn't, you know, that was just an opportunity to sort of fill in the colors myself. And it was just kind of a easy joy. It was a good way to get into it.
Cool.
Yeah. But so this is going to be your chance to harp on us a little bit. But how do your players react to this setting? And was there anything else that, as they were going through it, that maybe you would have liked to see your players either do or not do?
Not quite so much. I think you guys, honestly, I don't have any complaints or added suggestions for it. I think maybe as a DM, I kind of, in the back of my head, kind of wish that, come on, go over here. No, you're going that way.
You can never control the players. They will zig when you want them to zag.
Yeah. And going back to the Stone Cold Reavers, like I said, my mindset was try not necessarily rig it so that Silene and Runa survived,
Hmm.
but sort of like give a little bit of push in that direction. So
They were not
at,
surviving that.
no,
Yeah.
We weren't having it.
Dusk does
yeah,
not leave survivors once he's decided somebody has to go.
yeah.
No
I found that out.
witnesses.
Yeah.
Yeah, and when Silene was hauling Runa along the side of the mountain, and I saw Nietzsche go like this with his bow, I was like, "Oh no, this is happening! Please miss, please miss!" He hit. How much damage?
Hit with a 25, no less. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Sorry, Silene, you're done.
Yeah.
And sometimes you just have to honor. I mean, most of the time, I say sometimes, most of the time, honor the dice. That's really a lot of the fun of D&D. Because as much as it can be unpredictable for the players, it can also be unpredictable for the dungeon master. And you're not the only one telling the story as the dungeon master, so let the players have that story making moment and let it happen and be its own unique, beautiful thing.
From the chat room, when the redemption paladin is done with you, he lets the rogue has his way.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, there's actually more to the Reavers I never actually got out. But at that point, it was flip and go time. Let's do this.
Mm.
And you guys had that dragon to fight too, so I didn't want us to I didn't want to spend the entire session monologuing from my different characters to get every little detail out when let's fight this thing already. Let's fight this thing. And it ended up leading to perhaps my worst quip of the campaign, Return to Sender. It sounded a lot better in my head because when I thought it sounded like Himbo was threatening to put Silene back in her grave, and I was like, I was trying to make it sort of a no you kind of thing, and I was like, did I actually just say that?
Yes, you did.
Suddenly,
I remember everybody at the table being like,
What?
okay.
yeah.
Sometimes they
And
just fall flat.
improv is hard sometimes.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
Well, yeah. And
Okay, so
I
as
think I think you handled it like a
yeah,
champ, though. So.
and done it very well. As a player, though, I have a question.
Yeah.
You were counting and marking off any time that someone made a loud sound in that final battle of the Reavers. Was there ever a chance that Cryovane would wake up and just wreck everything just because we were making too much noise?
Absolutely. I actually sort of marked it down that on a different role, Cryovane would either wake up and play dumb, wake up, not notice anything, and go back to sleep, or wake up, bowl in a china shop and just ice breath right into your room and just freeze breath everybody at once.
And this is
Um,
why Sparky was staying away from the arrow slits.
Yep.
yes. And full disclosure, you guys rolled the he wakes up and plays dumb.
Hey.
Um,
Yeah, we did
on
wake him up.
the,
Yeah,
I suspected that was
yeah,
the case.
yeah. Kind of. Yeah, I mean, we came out there as like, come back up, and he's like, "Well, are you coming to defeat me or not?" Yes, we are.
yeah. Are you going to come out or not?
Yeah.
And in the module, Cryovane is just a base young white dragon.
We would have stomped that so bad.
Yeah. Yeah. So I took some reflavoring inspiration and sort of made a hybrid of a young white dragon and adult white dragon, sort of found sort of a nice middle ground between them. And more hit points, the legendary actions, more attack variations. Um, I even and there's also a chance that you guys could have ended up having to fight Cryovane and those two white dragon wormlings. But when you guys befriended the manticores, and I started coming up with the idea that hey, maybe Crowley's going to start rallying some dragons to his side. I thought, what if the manticores or that red dragon wormling they befriended? What if they sort of had a chance to bail the party out?
I like that bit. I was wondering if that was something that was in the book or something that you added, actually.
I added that. I
Yeah.
completely added that.
Yeah, no, that
Crowvane,
was a great bit.
thank you. Crowvane was just dragon romping around town, uh, acting like he owns the place, goes back to sleep after he fills his belly, and wakes up in the morning, goes back out to hunt again.
I mean, it's
Um,
typical dragon. Or at least,
yeah,
Yeah.
chromatic dragons.
yeah, and I was a little bit worried that he may have been something of a boring final boss, so that's why I added in the he's going to start getting dragons to his cause. Because Crowvane, his backstory was that he came from the world spine to the north, Icewind Dale and all that up there. And he was chased out by bigger, more powerful dragons.
Mhm.
And I thought, what if he was down here not just to sort of find his new territory, but maybe solidify his own throne? And he need more than just gold and a fortress, a lair to house, and he'd need some minions.
Mhm.
So I thought maybe he'd find some weaker dragons himself to have his some of his bits, but I sort of pulled back on that one as I read on how much of a topic the anchorets of Talos are going to be, and
Mhm.
I sort of let them have the foot soldiers of the campaign role themselves.
Yeah, I did notice that there was this sort of which is the A plot, which is the B plot thing, and I wasn't sure how much of that was in the book and how much of that was going on in your custom stuff. But what I liked about the Manticores tanking the wormlings for
Mhm.
us so that we didn't have to deal with it is it made our earlier choices feel relevant.
Yeah.
You know, it felt like, oh, that's something we did that had that changed things later. You know, it felt like we had accomplished something, which I
Yeah.
like that a lot.
Yeah,
Uh,
you guys had done a whole lot of neat things throughout the campaign, making friends, making choices to get this whole freaking stack of magic items.
uh,
Um, well, we could magic items are another subject altogether, but you know,
Look, you have an
as
artificer in the campaign. Magic items are going to happen.
yeah, yeah. But as we started getting towards the end of the campaign, I sort of wanted to homage things, and I was like, where can I bring these guys in from? For and you guys really made that part easy for me when you decided, no, we're not going to go to the Shrine of Severus. We're going to go to Phandalin, warn them all, and let them come to us and just wreck shop. So I was like, oh, cool. I can bring in these guys. Oh yeah, the Kenku brothers. We'll bring the Kenku brothers in. Also, homebrewed the Kenku brothers.
Yeah, I mean
Um,
that entire ordeal, like the entire thing of warning Phandalin and pulling together this ragtag army to defeat the orcs that was really cool, and that really did,
yeah,
like Nietzsche
it
said,
had a
really
great Seven
lent.
Samurai vibe.
Yeah, it really lent into, this party has been going around Phandalin, gathering up people and a bunch of weirdos and bringing them back to Phandalin because these people have been being either displaced by the orcs or displaced by the dragon, and now they are bringing it back to the orcs, and
yeah,
doing what the orcs had done to them, sort of,
yeah,
in a way.
yeah, and
Surfy, go ahead.
yeah. And as you guys were sort of starting to build that up, the gears started to come together, and my mind was like, how can we do this? And then you guys dropped that after the Woodland Man's quest to rally Phandalin. I was like, oh my, this could be really good. I mean, it's gonna be a lot of work for me, but oh my goodness. And yeah, I had to let you guys have that. And I was like, hex to the yeah, let's do this. And I think that was one of my personal most hype moments, was actually getting to do this whole Phandalin Strikes Back concept. And with all the allies you made along the way from all the different quests, that was something I really wanted to do. I felt like it was a great homage to everything you guys had done so far.
Cool.
And that battle, that was all you, wasn't it? I mean,
Yes, that whole final battle was completely homebrewed. I found a Phandalin battle map online. Uh, I put all the tokens there, put in the different threats you'd be facing along the way. I reflavored so many different creatures in the monster manual to represent the Fanlin citizens. I didn't want it to necessarily be too difficult, even though I did throw in a freaking hill giant towards the end.
We were 5th level.
Yeah, you guys could have handled that one.
We know what we're doing.
It was in big part to be a tour. In the Dragon of Icespire Peak, one of the ways you could have found Trial Vein was while you guys are gone, orcs attacked Phandalin, and even though they repelled them, some of the citizens died, but they have one prisoner. So I was like, I didn't really care for that one, but what you guys had come up had proposed and between your characters, I was like, oh yeah, that is way, way, way better. Not so this module, we're doing this.
Isn't that how it goes? But
Yeah.
we are getting on. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say, Surfy did ask in the chat about what was the thunderclap that gave the sense that Cryovane was part lightning too. What was going on with that? He was getting this sort of elemental thing going on.
Right, so Cryovane. When I was re-flavoring Cryovane for the final fight, one of their actions that the White Dragon can take is having icicles drop from their ceiling. Well, the final fight was going to be outdoors, and I didn't want him to do the potentially very effective Lair action. So during the campaign, when you guys finally faced off with Gorthok the Thunderboar, the idea was that after you guys had left the body of Gorthok, Crowvane came down for basically a smorgasbord, and that was going to give him some of his more lightning-y bits and make him even bigger.
Absorb the
powers
Gorthok's power.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Something like that. And it would also make him bigger to avoid being grappled. Himbo.
Yeah, then I made Himbo bigger.
Yes, yes, you did.
Which made him within the
grapple criteria.
Yep, within the range of being able to grapple him. Unfortunately, Himbo was downed by crappy Constitution rolls, but the thought was there.
So I was able to reflavor those icicles to be cold lightning bolts, just coming from the clouds above, and boom, he has other air action back.
Cool,
nice.
So just wanting him to have that air action was the whole basis for me having him eat the corpse of Gorthok, get big, and have that attack again.
Cool.
Yeah, that's good.
That worked. That worked.
It added a sort of sense of kind of a ticking clock, because we didn't know if he was just growing bigger because of whatever rituals he was doing, or whatever. So
I had a hunch, but now we're getting close. I mean, it's 9 o'clock, so let's touch on the now that you've finished the campaign, and you've finished, the Dragon of Icespire Peak.
Campaign finished.
Technically, this is campaign finished. So what is your next intentions? Like, do you want to end the game, start a new one, continue with a new story arc? And if you do, like, if you want to continue on with this one or go on to a next one, do you want to stick with published adventures, homebrew, bit of both?
So coming up next, I want to I've been bouncing back and forth between doing the follow-up campaigns to Icespire Peak or going over to Icewind Dale. Part of me wants to have like sort of flip-flop between both of them, have the Phandalin heroes continue to the follow-ups of Icespire Peak, because I began reading those a lot more recently, and I was like, okay, I'm kind of dig this. But at the same time, I've been looking at Icewind Dale. That's got some cool things in it too. So I think my tentative plan, at least with you guys, is to have you guys get your reward trip from the Seeker, and then move on to the Stormlord's Wrath, which is the first after Icespire Peak campaign that D&D Beyond has for buying the Essentials Kit.
Okay.
You get the print of the first one, and then you get the digital copies of the 3 follow-ups, and that goes all the way to level 12 or 13, I think.
Cool.
But yeah, I mentioned the Seeker. During the time it took to finish this campaign, I'd backed the Seeker's Guide to Twisted Taverns, and the Seeker is the face character um of that unofficial source book. Um, and and after that, I had gotten some playtest taverns, and the reward is going to be you guys are going to a tavern,
So we're gonna do a pub crawl.
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Normally, these campaigns start in a cat tavern. They don't usually end at a tavern, but I'm willing to go with it.
Segue into the next chapter in a tavern.
We
so,
segue into a tavern.
And
Cool.
after all that's finished, I do want to do my own homebrewed world. Like I want to try. I see all these pieces from these different campaigns. I see how those pieces fit into make something big and expansive and for players to enjoy. And like, no reason I can't try this myself. So
That's fair.
That's my pie in the sky goal, to have a homebrewed campaign from the bottom up. I'll still be using 5e material both from Wizards of the Coast and from Kickstarter projects, but that's the end game for me, I think. Well, I
Cool.
shouldn't say end game because I want to go beyond that if you guys get to the end of that.
That's the next chapter.
Yes.
Yeah.
The next chapter,
that's,
the next story, the next campaign, the next.
Yeah, and
on.
yeah. And I've also actually been working on my next one shot for you guys, which may be a multi-part. But you guys might be going to Goblin City.
All right. Well, I mean, we've got Booyog and Slibbix that could easily take us
Collecting
there.
goblins already.
We are, yeah.
Yeah.
So is there, having gone through this,
Mhm.
your first experiences as the DM using this beginner game, what would you like to say to other beginner DMs?
Don't fear the other side of the DM screen. There's a ton of fun to be had. You're still going to know part of the story, even if you're not the one being subjected to the freak occurrences. You're still going to get some randomness yourself. You never know what the players are going to do, but give it a shot. The worst thing that happen is that you decide, I think I like being a player more. Best thing to happen is you end up getting a little obsessed about it and start having your own bundles of fun on the other side of the screen this time.
Turns out being a DM is actually fun.
Yes, it's
Who
a lot
knew?
of fun.
Who knew?
Who knew?
I recommend it for everyone, at least once.
Yes. Yeah.
Cool.
All right.
So that concludes our questions for this interview. So thank you very much, Plotline, for
Thank you for having
sharing
me.
all of that with us.
Thanks for having me.
Chat, have you got anything you would like to ask us or ask Plots or anything you would like us to cover? Or Plotline, do you have any questions of us? Let's open the floor for some Q&A. Who's got what? Anybody?
Who wants the floor? It's not a great floor, but you can have it anyways.
Got a
Yeah,
rug on it.
You got anything, chat?
Yeah, mine's got a crappy carpet. I need to get them to change it.
Yeah, so Surfy did send me an email of a short little conversation between Himbo and Dusk, postulating that Cryovane must have had a fence that he was selling all his loot to have all those diamonds down in the ice, which I thought was pretty funny.
Right.
And Sparky is just grateful for all the diamonds. Who knows what they will become?
Right. The module that actually said that Crowvane didn't actually have a horde, and the Reavers were wasting their time. That's why I kind of hodgepodge that. We'll wait for the dragon to bring us the treasure, and then we'll take it from there. I didn't think it was too bad of a plan.
Yeah, well, I mean, the dragon not having a horde would be a little bit of a disappointment.
Yeah.
At the end of a campaign.
No, I mean, it's more like they didn't know the dragon had a horde. It just looks like ice. Look at those diamonds.
Yeah.
They just sparkle. It's
Yeah.
just ice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Straight out of bond.
Yeah. I think I didn't want to have them go after that immediately because in the monster manual it says that white dragons know where every single coin that they gotten in their hoard came from, and I'd like to think that the Reavers knew a little bit about white dragons. Runa Vakdottir, for example, she came all the way from the north, so she had to have known all about white dragons. I figured, so she'd be like, "No, don't get those yet. Don't get those yet. We'll wait until we're ready to leave, and then we'll get the diamonds." At least that was my argument for that. The white diamonds or the diamonds of the ice. I I think I read that in the monster manual too. I don't know where I got that idea from, but I liked it and I put it in there.
So we do have a question from the chat here from Surfy. Did the
Yes.
module give decent resources for making balanced encounters from scratch or from scratch for Wait, let me reread that. Did the module
Making
give
balanced encounters from scratch for improvisation. That's a hard
Words.
thing to say.
That was
Yeah.
words.
Yeah, actually, the module had guidelines like 1 orc per character, excluding sidekicks, or 2 ghouls per character, including sidekicks. And it seemed like a decent one to go off of. As I got a better grasp for what you guys could handle and what you were capable of, I'd either upscale it or very rarely I downscale it.
You know not what we are capable of.
Yeah,
Yeah,
well, I mean, it was a very big party, and we're
yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
Surfy is
pros, yeah.
elaborating for making stuff up. Like, did they
making
provide
stuff up,
resources for making stuff up, or was it mostly?
Oh, no. They there wasn't a whole lot of guidelines for home brewing. It did encourage you to get a little creative. Had the line of when in doubt, make it up. But it didn't really say if you're considering monsters like this, keep in mind so and so or anything like that. It's they didn't have a full robust player's handbook, at least not that I really dug into. I actually didn't dig too much into the guidebook since I had the full player's handbook and Dungeon Master's Guide myself. So I just used the module book and the core books to formulate the campaign itself. So I didn't have too much from the Essentials Kit. When it came to reflavoring and repainting and redoing, I just sort of honestly took you guys for inspiration for changing things up and just sort of like, you know what? Let's do this.
I mean, that's what I hear a lot from DMs is that they might have something in mind, but their players do something else totally different, and it's like, hold on, that's better than what I thought. I'm taking it.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Like that moment when you suggested the rallying fandom, and I was like, yes, 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 this is perfect. It was like it really was everything I could have wanted in a scenario, and I can't thank you guys enough for coming up with that idea. It was a lot of work to get together, but oh my gosh, it was a thrill to actually set up.
Well, I'm interested in seeing what your other party ends up doing. It'll be interesting to see how that turns out. When what ends up being different from what we do.
Surfy
Yeah,
also,
yeah.
I was
We'll
just
see.
gonna say, Surfy also says that they left their coffee on the table to go pose in the throne room was amusing, and it was a great little bit. Just picture them. Oh, they're coming quick! Everybody, look cool.
Yeah. There was a bit more of a plan than that. That the coffee was actually from the module. While the players would make their way in, they could have gone where Runa Vakdottir was keeping watch, and they'd find her coffee. So, Dusk, you just drink Runa's coffee. Indirect kiss there, man. Indirect kiss there.
Oh, she was hot.
All right. Well, I think we've about covered it tonight. Plotline, thank you for joining us tonight on our special geekery and answering all of our questions. It's been interesting to see. I mean, I've had that first DM experience as well, but it's interesting. It's always interesting to see what other DMs, going from being a player, taking on the DM role, how they interpret it and how it affects what they're going to be doing. So, yeah, thank you for answering our questions. I definitely look forward to what we do next and bringing back Sparky and her crazy gun contraption, and seeing what we can surprise you with going forward.
One way or another, I want to bring you all back for another campaign because that was a whole lot of fun. Just seeing the new characters, and then you kind of adopt the new characters as your players as party members. It's just blast.
Yeah. Well, we did try to limit that a bit. There's Booyog joining the group just sort of happened organically.
Yeah.
And then as we were collecting more people, I was kind of making a point of dropping them off in Phandalin, so we didn't end up with just carrying all of the sword coast around with us.
Hello, we are the heroes of Phandalin, and these are our groupies.
Yeah. I'm still kind of surprised you didn't invite Crestone the Avenging to follow you. I tried to make him sort of that over the top, bulbous wannabe hero.
Yeah, well, we weren't sure. We still weren't sure, where he fell. Because he started out worshiping Cryovane, and then jumped over to Heronius after we proselytized at him a little. It's like, this guy blows with the wind a little too much.
It's a little chaotic.
Plus, he only had 1 hit point at the time, so 1 hit, he was probably dying outright.
Yeah,
just a gentle tap on the face.
NPCs that become a somebody you have to rescue a lot end up being more trouble than they
were,
so.
Yeah. I didn't want, when you guys adopted Booyog, I didn't want him to be alone. I just sort of wanted him to be flavor, The only time I really wanted to make him a real point was to sort of add some urgency to Axholm, and oh my god, I can vent about Axholm all day.
Go ahead.
Okay,
well, I mean, we are a bit going a bit long here. It is past 9 o'clock, so
well,
maybe
give us the abridged version.
Yeah, give us the abridged version in a quick 2 minutes.
Okay, basically, Axholm is the biggest dungeon in the entire campaign, filled to the rim with a whole bunch of monsters, and not too much of an interesting place to go. And the module wants you to kill all the monsters, so let's add some urgency. And I'm going to have your guys' Goblin Ward hit 0 hit points when he goes to open the gate for you. So and that, I think we spent like 2-3 sessions just at Axholm.
We did. That was the longest we were
waited
in.
Yeah. We snuck into rescue Booyog and ghouls, all the ghouls. Fuck, let's get out of here. And we sort of came back and piecemealed around the edges, but
yeah. If I could do it again, I would have tried to make it maybe a little bit more interesting than just ghouls all day, ghouls all day, ghouls all day. Oh, here's a banshee and some spiders. Ghouls all day, ghouls all day, ghouls all day.
It was kind of one note, yes.
Yeah. At least we had a night of spiders.
Yeah.
All right. But like I said, thank you for joining us tonight.
Anytime.
We will be back again.
We don't know what we're going to be doing next week yet, so we'll figure out something. In the meantime, our usual post stream stuff. Please like, subscribe, use the notification, spread the word to all of your gamer friends to please come and check us out. We want to be helpful for players. We want to be helpful for DMs. We want to just make everybody's life easier and more cool and more fun. So
most of the more cool part along. And more fun. Yeah, definitely that part.
Yes. But and in the meantime, stay geeky. Yeah.
And stay frosty.
Yeah.
Good night.
Good night.
Night, everybody.
I turned off the audio.